Welcome to the Rutherford County School Board, September 28, 2022. Our first order of business tonight will be the pledge with Mr. Wayne from Rock Springs Middle. You'll come up. I know, I think he got tricked.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wayne. Next, we'll have a moment of silence. Please remember our residents and friends and family in Florida. Okay. Thank you so much. First, we'll have the approval of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion. Thank you, Mr. Young.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Claire. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any wish to abstain? Motion passes. Next is the approval of the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Maxwell.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Tidwell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any wish to abstain? Motion passes.
Next, we have recognition. I know we still have some students coming in, so are we all right to move to visitors first and then move to back to recognition?
So the first visitor I have is Caleb Lay. Hi.
Good evening, Board. I would just like to say welcome to the newest members of the Board, first of all, and just thank you for the changes that are already taking place. I'd especially like to say thank you to Mr. Tidwell and Ms. Sharp and Ms. Darby for demanding the most efficient and cost-effective use of taxpayer money at the last board meeting. We greatly appreciate that. I'd like to bring to your attention a federal law passed in 2004 called the Consolidated Appropriations Act. It's PL 108-447. Let me read from Section 111, subsection B, and I quote, "Each educational institution that receives federal funds for a fiscal year shall hold an educational program on the United States Constitution on September 17th of such year for the students served by the educational institution," end quote. I asked approximately 15 middle and high school students that are in my church's youth group if they had learned or talked about the Constitution in class on September 16th, since Constitution Day the 17th fell on a Saturday this year. None of them had, and only one of them even knew what Constitution Day was. I understand this is a very small sample size, but considering the law says every student served by the educational institution, feel fairly confident we're in significant violation of this law. So I just want to encourage the board to be thinking about plans to improve compliance in years to come. And finally, the main reason for me being here this evening is to demonstrate to Mr. Young the proper way for a constituent to address a disagreement they have with a board member's comments or actions. It's not to write an anonymous note and have it read aloud by Mr. Young and take a cheap shot at Ms. Sharp's comments or at her individually. You should have directed your constituent to contact her directly. I'm sure she would talk about it with them or make an appointment to address the board as I have, but in my opinion, you should be ashamed for taking part in a slanderous and cowardly act that we all had to witness at the last board meeting. So, Ms. Sharp, thank you. I'm sorry that you have to endure a petty attack like that for simply trying to give parents more choices and more freedom in the education of their children. Thank you for supporting parents' choice in the education of their children. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. And we're all in agreement. We all can agree to disagree, regardless where our stance are. But thank you so much for your comments. Next is Daryl Wilson. Welcome, Mr. Wilson.
I know we don't have much time, so I'll make this short and sweet and to the point. My son, Lucian Wilson, went to Laverne Middle. He had an altercation on Friday in which he was defending himself. During that altercation, both children were injured, with the exception of my son. On Monday, we were notified that he was remanded to go to Smyrna West. During that meeting, I asked the principal, Dr. Holman, I asked him who made the final decision. He said, I made the final decision. We went back and forth. I said, he said, we did as a committee, a board. I said, who's on the board? So I could try to go through this appeal process. He said, put my name down. I quote, put my name down, I made the final decision. When we left that meeting, we only received 2 sheets of paper. One saying that his start date for Smyrna West was September 26th, which was Monday, the day of the meeting. And the other paper just gave us the appeals process. I'm not sure how they came up with that decision. There was, as you guys know, the schools have cameras. I asked the principal, did he review the tape? He said no. I spoke to the resource officer. I asked him, was he involved in this altercation at all? He said no. He also said that he found it odd that he was not involved in an altercation allegedly in a manner such severe that one student would be reprimanded. Both students walked away, maybe bruised, but no one was gravely injured. I did not get the handbook, but I did review the handbook on my own. And according to your guys' handbook, the principal cannot be the sole decision maker. The superintendent has to have a say in that. Also, it says further down that anytime an incident like that happens, the resource officer should also be made aware of that. We brought it to the resources officer's attention. We brought it to his attention to the point where I asked him to do a report, a criminal report, even though we're not pressing charges, just so we could have a third party review the tape independently of the principal who admittedly said he did not review the tape. Before I leave, I don't know if you guys can hand me a physical copy of that handbook, so when we appeal, I could show, I had to get this from the school board. This was not provided to me by the school officials. I have 14 minutes left. And I don't know if you guys have any questions for me before time runs out.
I don't believe that we actually give physical books out anymore, that they're all online to save for.
If one of you guys could email that to me, that would be perfect.
Mr. Evans?
It's also on the website, but I'll be glad to email you a copy if you'd like.
Thank you, because I want to take that to the appeal board, that I had to get it from one of you.
I don't have your information here. Would you like to, your email? You've got it? Okay.
You've spoken on the phone before. Thank you. You're all.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so recognition? Are we doing recognition?
Yeah, so now we will move to recognition. So we have our National Merit semifinalist. Rutherford County Schools has a record number of seniors who have earned recognition as a National Merit semifinalist. Those seniors represent 4 high schools, including 24 seniors at Central Magnet School, 2 at Riverdale High School, 1 student at Siegel High School, and 1 from Smyrna High School. There were a total of 215 National Merit semifinalists statewide, which means Central seniors make up more than 10% of the state total. There are more than 16,000 semifinalists named to the 2023 National Merit Scholarship Program the organization announced this week. These academically talented high school seniors have an opportunity to continue in that competition for some 7,250 National Merit Scholarships worth nearly $28 million that will be offered next spring. To be considered for a Merit Scholarship Award, semifinalists must fulfill several requirements to advance to the finalist level of the competition. About 95% of the semifinalists are expected to attain finalist standing, and about half of these finalists will win a National Merit Scholarship, earning the Merit Scholar title. The 2023 Rutherford County National Merit semifinalists are, and if you are here and if we call your name, if you'll just come and stand in front of Ms. Bratton over here, we'll make our way down here, so I'm sure Evans will probably get a picture. So from Central Magnet School, Andrew Berard, Jack Blaise, Allison Burrett, Ella Clark. Oh, we have a couple coming in. Hardy Gardner. Robert Gilly, Trevor Hall, Kara Hallquist, David Harris, Addison Henninger, Abby Higgins, Ethan Keenan, Elizabeth Leach, Riley Meredith, Grace Moore, Michaela Morrell, Brianna Rankin, Siri Reynolds, Anna Robertson, William Severn, Isaac Smith, Ava Stanley, Caden Vandergrift, and Yao Zhao. So these are our students from Central Magnet School. Now moving to Riverdale High School, Ivy Lynn and Nico Thorne. And then Siegel High School, Samuel Trout. And then Smyrna High School, Trevin Collins. And so again, congratulations. You are our National Merit semifinalists. That is a huge honor and a huge achievement. And representing Rutherford County, we're extremely proud of the work that you guys have done. All right, and now Mr. James Evans, you will finally get to meet the famous James Evans that you want the phone calls from. If they are now more famous, sorry. He's going to have you guys go out to the hallway, and then he'll get a picture of everyone. So congratulations again.
Parents, remember, we are live streamed through YouTube, so once they upload this tonight, you can go out and search for it under Rutherford County TV, RCTV, and then you can send it to grandparents and other people that were not able to make the meeting tonight. So next item.
Next, we have Instruction, Tab 2. The Curriculum and Instruction Department would like to purchase a one-year subscription to Scribble's online school choice application and enrollment lottery management software at a cost of $28,080. Recommended approval, motion to approve a one-year subscription to Scribble's online school choice application and enrollment lottery management software set at a cost of $28,080 is presented, and we will have our survey that goes out to ask parents kind of what they're interested in so we can get a better idea of who even may be interested this Friday as well.
Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Maxwell.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Tidwell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Motion passes. Next item.
Number 2, the Curriculum and Instruction Department would like to allocate $17,600 of general purpose funds to support 44 Rutherford Teach Now mentors. The purpose of this mentorship is to provide building level support for Teach Now participants. These mentors are responsible for completing all training, meetings, and reflections. Recommended approval, motion to approve allocating $17,600 of general purpose funds to support 44 Rutherford Teach Now mentors at 16 middle and high schools as presented. And just as we talked about last night, these Rutherford Teach Now are individuals who did not student teach, but they are serving in our classrooms, so the mentors are almost like a supervising teacher.
Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Bratton.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Young. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any wish to abstain? Motion passes. Next item.
Next, number 9, Raptor Emergency Management Suite, Tab 3. Raptor Emergency Management Suite is integrated school safety software that enables schools to screen visitors, track volunteers, report on drills, respond to emergencies, and reunite families when an event occurs. And from their information, the things they do, again, manage and track drills, receive automatic notifications, monitor drill status for every building and drill type, efficiently manage incidents. Districts can customize a list of team assist situations, notifications, and alert recipients, connect with first responders with a panic alert system, get a real count of everyone in the school during an incident, and Raptor reduces reunification time with instant mobile communications with students and guardians. Recommended approval, motion to approve the Raptor Emergency Management Suite integrated school safety software that enables schools to screen visitors, track volunteers, report on drills, respond to emergencies, and reunite families when an event occurs as presented. We've added the total cost of the software is $151,404.
That's a one-year subscription.
That's a one-year subscription and does come out of our Safe Schools grant.
Any comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Bratton.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Darby. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Motion passes.
All right, so next we have our out-of-county transfer students. So we are looking at transfer student under Discipline 1. And so the board has been requested to admit a transfer student under discipline from another school system. This student was expelled for a group fight, and according to policy 6.318, the board may approve admissions when a student transfers from another school system while under suspension or expulsion. And I think for us, we just take each one of these individually.
Yes, we need to take them individually in case there's an appeal.
Absolutely.
So is there a motion on student number 1? Any questions? Comments?
If we do accept this child, he will be going to the alternative school.
Correct. They'll go to alternative school and enter into our program in the alternative school.
Make a motion that we do not accept this student in Rutherford County.
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Bratton and Ms. Rosales. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any wish to abstain? Number 1 is refused.
All right, number 2, the board has been requested to admit a transfer student under discipline from another school system. The student is remanded for gross disobedience and misconduct. And again, according to policy 6.318, the board may approve admissions when a student transfers from another school system while under suspension or expulsion.
Any questions or comments for student number 2?
Move to deny to Rutherford County Schools.
Thank you, Ms. Darby. We have a
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Rosales. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone like to abstain? Motion passes. Thank you. Student number 3.
All right, the board has been requested to admit a transfer student from under discipline from another school system. The student is remanded for possession and distribution of marijuana. According to policy 6.318, the board may approve admissions when a student transfers from another school system while under suspension or expulsion.
Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve.
Is that accept? Move to
Accept.
accept.
I'm
Move to
sorry.
accept. Move to accept. Okay. Is there a second? There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Motion fails from lack of a second, right? Okay. So I'll entertain another motion.
Move to deny.
Thank you, Ms. Bratton. Thank you, Mr. Tidwell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone want to abstain?
I'll abstain.
Okay. Thank you. Motion passes.
All right, and number 4, the board has been requested to admit a transfer student under discipline from another school system. The student is remanded for vaping. According to policy 6.318, the board may approve admissions when a student transfers from another school system while under suspension or expulsion.
So we have 3 options here. We can affirm, overturn, or grant a hearing.
Oh, we're on number 4.
Oh, sorry, I thought we had 4.
It says you're still on number 4 transfer student.
Okay.
So you're good. You're good.
Try this again. Move to accept.
Do we have a second? Motion fails for lack of a second. Do we have another motion?
Move to deny.
Thank you, Ms. Bratton. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Young. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any like to abstain?
I'll abstain.
Thank you, Ms. Maxwell. Motion passes. Motion to deny.
All right, now we move to discipline hearing appeal. The board's been requested to review a decision of the Discipline Hearing Authority, DHA, to uphold the remandment of a student from Siegel Middle School. Based on a review of the DHA's record, the board may A, affirm the decision of the DHA, B, overturn the decision of the DHA, or C, grant a hearing before the board. So recommended approval. Motion to approve the board initiate a motion in line with one of the three options as presented.
Can I ask
Sure,
something?
sure.
Do we have any data on how often kids are receiving other, according to the policy, forms of discipline other than just a remandment or expulsion? I know there's some other options like classes and some different things. Do we have any kind of data on how often those things are being utilized?
Yeah, I can run a report for that. We have to do a data mining, so I know that we can pull, so suspensions are automatic, like that's the easiest one because that's all reported to the State Department as well.
Right.
But yeah, I can run that just to, and I can go over at our retreat, that just gives us an overall view of here's where we are district-wide by school, all those things.
I'd just like to see it.
It's a good-
because
yeah.
I think that there are some times where maybe there are better options where we're getting some of these children some help early on versus just a straight
Yeah,
remandment, so.
yeah, I can do that.
For that info.
Any other questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion on the Siegel Middle remandment.
I'm going to make a motion to overturn the decision.
Is there a second? Motion dies for lack of a second. I'll entertain another motion.
I'd like to make a motion to grant a hearing because I would like some more information that I tried to obtain today and was unable to get.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to grant a hearing before the board. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone like to abstain?
Oppose.
I oppose. I oppose.
Okay, so we're going to go back to a roll call. So the motion on the floor is to grant a hearing. Would you do a roll call, please, ma'am?
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Okay. So we have, the motion was to grant a hearing, and that motion passed, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, number 3, even though this is the second discipline hearing. So this one, the board has been requested to review a decision of the Disciplinary Hearing Authority, DHA, to overturn conduct prejudicial to good order or discipline of a student from Stewart's Creek High School pursuant to Board Policy 6.317. Based on a review of the DHA's record, the board may A, affirm the decision of the DHA, B, overturn the decision of the DHA, or C, grant a hearing before the board. Recommended approval, motion to approve the board initiate a motion in line with one of the above options as presented. And again, this is Stewart's Creek High School.
Any further questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we overturn the decision.
Second.
Thank you for that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Anyone want to abstain? So we have one opposed. So motion passes. And that was to overturn the decision. Thank you.
All right, now we have discipline hearing appeal. The board has been requested to review a decision of the Disciplinary Hearing Authority, DHA, to uphold the remandment of a student from Oakland Middle School. Pursuant to Board Policy 6.317, based on a review of the DHA's record, the Board may A, affirm the decision of the DHA, B, overturn the decision of the DHA, or C, grant a hearing before the Board. Recommended approval, motion to approve the Board, initiate a motion in line with one of the above options as presented.
Any questions on the Oakland Middle? Any comments? I will entertain a motion.
I move that we affirm the decision.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Do we have a second? Thank you, Mr. Tidwell. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, so moving to 11, Financial Matters, Tab 5, Fund 141, General Purpose School Budget Amendment. This amendment increases budgeted Fund 141 revenue and expenditures to recognize the awarded amount of the fiscal year 22-23 Safe School Grant. This reflects the grant award that was approved by the State Department of Education. This year's grant award amount is $1,016,781. Recommended approval, motion to amend the fiscal year 22-23 General Purpose School Budget to reflect the annual Safe Schools Grant Award as presented.
Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Bratton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Maxwell. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Motion passes. Thank you so much.
All right, number 2, this amendment is to fund 7 additional ESL teaching positions in order to bring RCS in compliance with the state of Tennessee ESL requirements. The Tennessee Department of Education requires a staffing ratio of 35:1 for ESL students, and RCS is not meeting this ratio in relation to the total amount of ESL students to teachers. This funding is derived by decreasing General Purpose Fund 141 unassigned fund balance and increasing salary and benefit expenditure line items in the 71-100 function. The total amount of this funding is $478,768. Recommended approval, motion to approve the GPS fund budget amendment of $478,768 of both unassigned fund balance and expenditures as presented.
Any questions? And this was one that we were going to replenish once we received
Yes,
the
the
funds.
BEP Growth Fund should cover this and more.
I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Darby. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Rosales. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Motion passes.
And you guys will see, we will go ahead and post these to get under compliance as pending, because they are pending the Health and Ed in October and everything else, so we won't officially be able to hire these, but to get us in compliance, I will post as possible, not pending, sorry, possible growth positions like we do with the rest of our budget in the year. So just in case you wonder, they're not being hired, they're going to be posted as possible, because they do need more funding.
And I'm going to pray that we find these.
Yes.
Amen to that.
Next item.
All right, Blackman Elementary hard-to-staff signing bonus. This proposed hiring incentive will match the signing bonus stipulations already in place for the 22-23 school year. Incentives earned with this initiative will be in addition to any other staffing incentives already approved. Recommended approval, motion to approve the proposed hiring incentive for Blackman Elementary to match the signing bonus stipulations already in place for the 22-23 school years presented. And again, this will be for all certified staff members at Blackman Elementary, both new that we bring in and they're there for the school year.
Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Rosales. Thank you, Mr. Tidwell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Motion passes.
Yep, number 4, we did last night discussion on school board member cell phones. I don't know if there's anything else.
So we have to bring it back up for a vote.
Correct.
So it has to come back on another agenda, so it'll come back in October for a vote. Next item.
Next, number 12, Facilities and Construction, tab 6, Laverne Lake Playground request. Principal Paige Johnson is requesting to utilize a $10,000 grant from the Richard Siegel Foundation to install a 45 by 50-foot asphalt area for basketball, improve the playground equipment for special education, and add additional soccer goals. Engineering has reviewed the request and approves. Recommended approval, motion to approve the request from Paige Johnson and Laverne Lake request for the Siegel grant as presented.
Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I move.
Thank you, Ms. Maxwell. Mr. Tidwell?
Second.
Were you the second? Thank you so much. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Motion passes.
All right, number 2, central magnet replacement sign request. Principal John Ash is requesting to replace the monument sign in front of central magnet. The school will contract with Tennessee Sign Company for $30,373.29. Alley Cassidy Masonry will donate all masonry materials. Engineering Construction has reviewed this request and approves. This project is at no cost to the board. This project will have to be approved and permit issued by the city of Murfreesboro. The engineering department will assist in this process. Recommended approval, motion to approve the request from Dr. John Ash and Central Magnet School for a replacement sign as presented.
Any questions or comments?
This is a very generous donation.
Yes, it
from
is.
Ally Cassidy for this.
Yes, it is.
I didn't realize signs cost that much.
They're very
Much more than that, too.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Maxwell and Ms. Darby. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Motion passes.
Our number 3, Buchanan Elementary request. Principal Ashley Witt is requesting to allow the Girl Scout troop to plant grass seed in the back playground area, add picnic tables and benches, pressure wash an existing concrete pad, touch up paint an existing mural of the USA in the concrete, and add 4 square play area on the concrete. They would like to plant trees for shade. The project will be at no cost to the school board or the school. The projected cost will be paid for by private individuals, Girl Scout Troop 1742, or the Buchanan PTO. There is not currently an accurate cost of the project because we plan to solicit businesses to get donations of materials or get materials for a reduced cost once they find out if our plan is approved by the board. If the project were to be paid at full price with no donations, it will cost around $800. Engineering and Construction has reviewed the request and approves. Recommended approval, motion to approve the request from Principal Ashley Witt and Buchanan Elementary to make repairs as needed.
Any questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Tidwell. Thank you, Ms. Darby. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Motion passes.
All right, next, we did our financial report last night. I will just add we had a great meeting in Health and Ed last night as well. Chairman Dodd and I are going to meet every Friday before our things go to the commission so that we can set up things and make sure we have that conversation in place beforehand. So really looking forward to working with our new Health and Ed members. That's kind of our financial. We did the rest last night.
Yeah, we did the rest. I think the Health and Ed Committee is great. There's a great mix of Laverne and Smyrna and then Murfreesboro. It's kind of equal across the board as far as the county goes, and I think we're going to get some great stuff done.
All right, interns update, anything else?
No additional.
All right, director's update, only thing I did that last night as well, something to kind of just keep on the radar as I'm looking at numbers. I'm concerned, of course we have growth everywhere, but I'm overly concerned about Blackman Elementary and Stewart's Creek Elementary, and so that's something just to keep on our radar. If I'm looking at Blackman Elementary, their entire 5th grade class is in portables, the entire 5th grade, and that's part of why we have that hiring incentive. I was at Stewart's Creek Elementary today. Stewart's Creek Elementary is at 1259, so they have grown 52 students since May. And then look, I've seen if they were actually our largest outside of Roy Waldron. I was looking at Rock Springs Elementary. They are our 2nd largest elementary without an addition. And so we're out of room over there. So we're struggling to say the least. And I'm concerned that they were at 1,100 about a year and a half ago. They're over 1,250 now. What it looks like by the time we get a school building built. We'll talk about it at our retreat, but I would like some direction from the board as well over, do we look at portables? Do we look at the horrible rezoning word? Do we look at some other options? Just to throw that out there. We're needing some help over there to support it.
Is Rock Springs at capacity as well?
It is not. They are out of rooms, but we could move some things around to get a couple more classrooms over.
But pretty full?
They're close, yes. Yeah, they're close and growing. So in looking at Rock Springs, they've only grown 7 students since May, but they jumped like crazy last year. Browns Chapel's the other school that we have over there. They have a little bit of room. They've grown 41 students since May. So the biggest spot that we have, and it's not a long-term spot, is Rockville Elementary School that could shift things because Rockville Elementary is at 850 because of our rezone and our addition. But you're talking about a big rezone that I know we want to try to wait until our company comes and gives us a report on those things. But I'm just wanted to bring to everybody's attention, I'm concerned about Stewart's Creek Elementary, Blackman Elementary, of what do we need to do there?
Well, I know that whole area where Stewart's Creek and Rock Springs are, there is a ton of new, if
Yes.
you haven't been over there, a ton of new developments going in. So that's, in the next year to two, is probably going to be an even bigger
Yes.
issue.
It's the 11,000 permits that I've been talking about in that area. And to your point, Dr. Sullivan, the last time I ran the numbers, and these are based on last year's numbers, not our new numbers, I think Stewart's Creek Elementary was 125% capacity.
Easily.
Now, that's what we have capacity for, so it's not over capacity. Mr. Lee may want to expound on that, but we have had discussions about this before, that we couldn't add an annex because we really don't have anywhere to stage the buses. Is that correct, Mr. Lee?
Yeah, you can go down it. Go for it.
Can you repeat the question?
He's scared to go down this one, about an annex at Stewart's Creek.
No, there is no room for an annex, but we have figured out a way that we can add classrooms.
Okay.
We would take the wings that are on the west side that face the high school, the 3 wings, and we could add 4 to 6 classrooms onto each wing. And then the front wing, we would make it L-shaped, and we could get a few additional classrooms there. We would have to move the turning lane that they presently use for car riders, but we can move that out, and it would be a sideboard lane. It would no longer be a separated turning lane, but we could still keep a turning lane so that traffic could pass. But it's creative, but we cannot get an annex like we did at Rock Springs or like we're doing at Rockville Elementary. There's not adequate space.
So you're talking about taking the median that's grassy now, taking that out and making that a lane?
Yes, ma'am.
That's not, the other thing we have is that I've asked, how many portables do we have coming open from Rockville Middle?
All the ones at Rockville Middle are assigned.
Are they going to Stewart's Creek as well? Or are they going elsewhere?
They're going Stewart's Creek High, one's going to Stewart's Creek Elementary, Riverdale. They're going
Okay.
various places. What we're looking at now, we would be purchasing because we're not going to have any portables available for 2 years. Once we make the last move from Rockville Middle, all of our portables are assigned, they're in location. So any portables that we would need
Would be new.
additional there or additional at Blackman, anywhere else, we would be looking at purchasing. And would like to recommend no longer purchasing singles.
Yes.
We're only going to be purchasing doubles.
And it is, even from a teacher cost perspective, so being at Stewart's Creek today, they have used just about every possible portion of their building they can. Their teacher workrooms, we've granted them extra growth positions, but because the workrooms are so small, they may be able to have 25 kids in their class. They can fit maybe 16, and it's tight. And so we are having to give them extra additional positions because they just don't have the space. So not a new problem, but it's something that we're going to need direction on, because my job is to advise the board, and I see that this is going to be a continued problem if we don't look at solutions.
Mr. Lee, can I ask, if we were to do that at Stewart's Creek Elementary, what kind of time frame does getting something like
Words right
that?
out of my mouth. If you make extra classrooms, how long would that take?
Well, we do not have a design yet. This is my initial floor plan, but I have spoken with our architects. They do believe it's feasible. We're probably looking at 4 to 5 months design time, which would get us into spring. And then you're looking probably at least a year. So you're looking at a year, you're looking at this school year and probably one more before they're ready, before they would be ready. That's what happens to us. It's 6 months from the time we pull the trigger till we have drawings ready to go on the street for bid. And then anything we do is 12 months. Most things are 17 months to 2 years.
Can I ask what that would look like in comparison to if we were able to find property and build an additional elementary school in that area? Is it a similar time frame?
The design time frame, if we built our current, I'm going to call it a prototype that we've built everywhere because it saves us money. If we built the current elementary that we have at Plainview, it'd probably be close 2 to 3 months design time because we still have to submit to the state. We still have to go to TDEC, and we still have to design the site. Now, the building itself would be okay because we don't have to redesign it, but all of the site work, the parking lots, the storm drainage, all that, we still have to do all that. So we would maybe be a month to 6 weeks shorter design time, but our construction time would be the same.
So comparable,
Yes,
either
ma'am.
way we go.
Yes. The only difference is we have property there. If we were to purchase a piece of property, we've got the time frame that it takes to get to do that.
Right. I'm just wondering if how much more we would get out of the new school versus
lot.
adding just additions, because it's almost like we're chasing our tail at some point.
Yes.
Yes,
From an
ma'am.
academic
I
standpoint.
completely agree.
Okay.
Yeah, from an academic standpoint, it's much better to have the school, and I know but we're looking at an elementary school, so we already have the largest middle school in the state. If Collierville wasn't 3,800 kids, which hopefully we never get, we would have we have a top 5 high school in the state, and we're going to be pushing for the largest elementary school in the state if we don't already have that.
When is the study going to come out? The one that the board approved, previous board, before we got here, to look into this whole entire thing?
The whole thing.
The
won't
whole
be done till
thing.
April.
So when is that study going to come out?
April. is
In
the final.
April. And you want to give us, you are looking for us to give you direction, but we're not getting the study till April.
Yep.
Is there any way to speed this up?
We still can, the board still can approve for Mr. Lee to go ahead and do the design work or start process on that.
Design work for Stewart's Creek and Blackman Elementary, because Blackman Elementary is in the same pickle. The whole entire class is in, the 5th grade class is a portable. I went there this past week, I took a tour of it. The kids are huddled over in in a table. It's really hard to teach kids and keep the noise level when everyone is huddled in a table. They do have land out there. I know that there was discussion about Blackman Elementary, and when we presented the 5-year plan, Blackman Elementary School was one of the schools that was brought up. So was Stewart's Creek Elementary. So, as well, in discussion about the numbers being a capacity. There is land out in Blackman Elementary School. I know there's also, we're looking at that property over in Beatty that's in the Blackman area as well. So, but for me, I will be honest, it's really hard to make a decision when we're waiting on this study. This study is going to give us the data that we desperately need to make these hard decisions, because we need projections of what what the growth is going to look like in 5, 10, 15 years. And us trying to make decisions right now to buy land, to do this or that, I don't have problems making decisions. I know we need land, but that data will really help make good, sound decisions.
Is there any way we can go back to them and ask them?
Possibly. So I'll tell you what their timeline. So their timeline, they have their enrollment analysis. So they're currently working on that. They are asking to have their enrollment analysis to the board December. So the entire thing would be April. They'll have their enrollment analysis with that trends hopefully to us in December. And so that is that analysis. The capacity analysis, to where they're going to walk every one of our buildings, look at every one of our floor plans, all those different types of things. That's going to take them several months, because they're going to walk all 50 buildings. They're looking to present to the board in April 2023 for that one. And then our overall entire project is May. And so the enrollment analysis, yes, to possibly look at some of it. But we're also under contract, and we're a huge district, so they did this for 18 months for us.
And my other concern is that prior to this board, including myself, and I'm not trying to say that the previous board made bad or good decisions, but there is land right now that the previous board have purchased that there's nothing being done to them. So we're talking about buying more land, but we don't know exactly what we're planning to do with these extra land that we have. So as we're talking about buying land and adding additions, we really need to put all these pieces to the puzzle together, because we're just thinking about buying land as a Band-Aid solution, or we're rezoning as a Band-Aid solution, and we're not really looking at the bigger picture. And I, as a board member and as someone that wants to do good on taxpayers' dollars, I want to look at the big picture.
I think we all want to look at the big picture. We just have to get the information.
Right.
So,
And part of that is we've grown 3,000 kids since this.
Yeah.
And so,
and, over the summer, we have grown another high school.
yep.
Exactly.
So I just wanted to bring it to the board to let you know that we are running out of room at these schools.
Oh, yeah.
To have the analysis done as well, but we're going to either, and I know nobody wants to purchase portables, but we are to the point, at this point next year, we are out of room at Stewart's Creek Elementary unless we buy more portables.
Dr. Sullivan?
Yeah.
Could we look at, we do have open seats at elementary schools.
We do, yes.
Could we look at maybe zoning some of these schools that have open seats as open enrollment and see how many volunteers we would have to go to those schools and see if this would help us out temporarily till, because I know Plainview's got several seats. John Coleman has several seats. So there's several elementary schools that's got open seats that could help us out if the parents are willing to do it. I'm not wanting to force anybody into something they don't want to do, but we ought to at least give them that option.
I think that's a great idea, Mr. Young.
So, Mr. Young, we did discuss that briefly this afternoon and talked about the possibility of opening up Browns Chapel and Rocky Fork Elementary. They both are near capacity, but they're definitely not as full as Stewart's Creek Elementary, and giving parents the option to choose those schools because they sit on either side of Stewart's Creek Elementary. And we think that we might get some parents who would do that, but we also know that parents really like having that 3-school concept on one campus, and so we're not sure how many takers we would have. But we could definitely, it might get us 25 to 50 students that would move over to one of those schools, but I think we're talking about an issue of at least 200, if not more, that we're out of space.
Plus whatever
So
we grow.
it's one piece of the puzzle, but it's probably not the solution.
Right.
It just depends on who the parents in the neighborhoods that we're going back to, because my neighborhood has been the neighborhood that's been a rezone quite a bit. And so I know this is a problem, and I know everyone wants a solution, but I think the solutions, and I may be speaking for some parents, it's something that's a little bit more permanent versus having to go back to rezoning every 2 years.
We also have a comprehensive school choice plan that we are studying and will be presented to the board soon. And that we're also doing kind of what you're saying, Mr. Young. Any school that has open seats will be open zoning that they can request to give them more options and also help us to relieve overcrowding. But again, getting people to leave that campus, so many people love being on those school campuses that have all 3 schools together. We don't think that a ton of people would choose to leave those campuses, but it's part of it.
If you do the open enrollment like you're speaking about, I'm just curious, transportation-wise, what that looks like.
So in the past, historically, the board has said that if they choose a school that they're not zoned for, the parents have to provide transportation. But the board also has the option on any of these, if they wanted to fund some sort of transportation option to help relieve the overcrowding. That's a board prerogative, for sure.
So, Dr. Sullivan, if I may, since Holloway is a choice school, and we do have one bus now going from the north end, if we concentrated more on trying to fill Holloway up as a choice school, would that help? Could we do another?
Well,
I don't know who I need to ask that question to.
Well, I mean, we're talking about the elementary school, and so
Okay, elementary, we're high school, that's true.
We're willing to, we're open for anything. I know that that's going to continue to add more, and again, my job's to protect the board as well, and I know that's going to continue to add pressure to the board of what are we doing about those areas.
Is it possible, it may not be possible, but on the zoning study, could we have them prioritize separately?
Yes, I would check
just
out
these
with them.
areas?
Yeah, they're actually supposed to be here Friday because they've done some initial, actually they're meeting with the city of Murfreesboro.
Because if they could bump up that, we then have the data to make a quicker decision.
And the city may not like this, but we may have to really look really hard. There's a lot of places that are dual zoned.
That's a great.
They live in the city, but they can go to the county or the city school. And we may have to look really hard at that and say, no more dual zones.
I don't know if we can do that. Mr. Reed, do you know if that's something that we can do? I don't know if we have. That's something you can get back with us on, but
That could work, but not
The lawyer.
Talk about it. I mean, you might could do an agreement with the city to provide for how kids are to be handled who are in the city limits, but it would require an agreement with the city.
Okay.
But then the issue becomes when they come back to the high school, because there's no schools in the high school.
Or middle.
Or middle school. So it may seem like it sounds like a good idea, but the cities don't have a full K through 12th grade in every section. So I just don't know if that's going to really solve the issue. It may help in some areas, but not in the scheme of things.
I don't know that there's going to be one pill to swallow on this. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot of different things that we look at, and we're just going to have to look outside the box.
Mr. Lee, when are we expecting all of those houses to start flooding Rockville Elementary? Any second?
Well, the first two sections are already started.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
It's a trickle that's gonna, unless the economy turns south,
Yeah.
which
It
we,
could.
as Rutherford County, we typically fare a little bit better
Right.
than the rest of the country. So if it is a trickle, we go from 50 kids to 40.
Oh, yeah.
It's where everybody else.
So they're going to start trickling
They are
in.
starting to complete some houses in those first two sections. The city's
Yeah.
still looking at the third subdivision,
Okay,
which is across from the elementary.
yes.
So if that one comes to fruition, that would be another one, but there's a half a dozen, pick a school. There's a half a dozen at Blackman, there's a half a dozen at Stewart's, I'm talking about new developments. At Stewart's Creek, they're in Laverne, I mean, it's
It's everywhere. It's
they're
everywhere.
at Walter Hill.
Yes.
And at the current pace, the building permits have slowed, but it's not an appreciable amount to help us.
And I will say Rockville Elementary has been helped. The city rezoned this past year, so some of that dual zoned area was dual zoned Case and Lane Scales, Rockville, and so we got more students going to Rockville. Now that has been zoned over part of it to Overall Creek, and we have actually dropped enrollment at Rockville. Not a lot
For this year.
for this year, but when the
Helped a
addition's
wee
done,
bit.
yeah, when the addition's done, we'll have, as of right now, about 450 seats at Rockville.
May I?
Okay.
One thing to keep in mind, and especially for the new board members, an addition helps us feed children and it provides restrooms, okay? A full, like we did at Rock Springs and like we're doing at Rockville Elementary. When we do strictly additions, like what we're doing at Rockville Middle, because those schools were not designed to be added onto, we cannot add additional restrooms. We add children, but we don't provide restroom space. It puts a stress on the administrators to get all the children restroom time. It also puts stress on them in the cafeterias. So to your point that we're doing a Band-Aid, and sometimes we have to. We have to do a Band-Aid to buy a couple of years. But we need to use that as minimal as possible. The additions, the true additions, we can add multiple restrooms. We add serving lines where they can actually have additional dining space. Now, it adds a little bit to our cafeteria staff because they transport food from the main building to there, but yet we can still feed children in a normal time frame. When we get these numbers out of whack that we're getting to at some of these schools, they start, and I'm speaking 10 o'clock, start lunch, and small children, by 1:30, 2 o'clock, they're starving.
Yeah.
So there's a delicate thing to, and I say that for you all to take into, to think about as we have these discussions.
And just to kind of finish up, Mr. Rosales, I completely agree. Like our district needs a long-term plan for how do we solve this, and that was something that I'm charged with doing as part of my interview, that we have to come up with a plan to do that overall to make sure we address those type of things.
I know, Dr. Sullivan, that we're
Something
supporting
that
you
we
in all.
definitely want, for sure.
And the county commissioners have already said we
know.
need to start looking at the 10-year, 15 and 20-year.
Yep.
So,
Thank you for keeping
Just
us
needs-
aware.
Just needs to be there, yeah.
yes, Dr. Sullivan, let me say, this is kind of a sidebar, he's the hardest working man that I know. I don't know how you get any sleep. So, we want to go to Ms. Maxwell, do you have anything for us?
I do have, well, the Tennessee Legislative Network. Obviously, we're still waiting news from the State Charter School Committee ruling on whether ACE Classical will be coming. I think that October 5th is the date, and public comment is open, so they can go online and leave a public. I do not have anything for the federal, though.
Thank you, that's great, thank you. Would we like to have any more general discussion? Anybody else want to bring anything up?
I'm going to be working on with Kelly, what was her name? Christine Bryant, I'm sorry. We're going to work together about getting the Jason Foundation to come here and give 2 different sessions for our parents. And we probably will have it at one of the high schools or middle schools. But yeah, so we're working on that, and I haven't gotten with her. Yeah, 2 dates, one before the holidays and then one in January, February-ish.
That's great. So I think I have an update. I just want to reiterate, we talked about it last night. We had a special call meeting next month, but we have canceled it because it's the first day of our TSBA convention. And also our retreat that Dr. Sullivan referred to earlier is going to be October 13th and 14th. So there's going to be a myriad of things that we're going to be working on, and everybody's looking forward to getting together and tackling some of these issues that we've talked about tonight.
So I did want to just introduce, so I know you guys hear the names all the time, but we do have several principals here. So Dr. Wayne's already been introduced. He led our pledge. We have Dr. Murray, he's Stewart's Creek Middle School, and then Ashley Witt is Buchanan Elementary School. Do I have anybody? I know Dr. Ash was here earlier and Ms. Blair, but that's all. So just want to introduce them while they're here.
Thank you. Oh,
Yep.
yes, absolutely. If there's no more discussion, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anyone wish to abstain? Motion passes.